Why make excuses when you can make music?
Why wait?
Just play. This message brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
If you have over $10,000 in credit card debt and are behind on your monthly payments, you need to make this free call right now. 800-428-4187. When you call the Stop Debt Hotline, you're taking the first steps for help. Debt specialists are part of a real team who will help you with all of your options. You could stop the collection calls and letters forever by calling the completely confidential toll-free number right now. 800-428-4187. 800-428-4187. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can handle your debt forever. Imagine no more late nights and no more debt. Don't try to face your creditors alone. Call the Stop Debt Hotline right now. 800-428-4187. 800-428-4187. Get free information now by calling the Stop Debt Hotline. 800-428-4187. Non-attorney spokesperson paid for by Debt Resolution Helpline. 102 Northeast 2nd Street, number 183, Boca Raton, Florida, 33432.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Man, it's a great time of year in sports. You got the NHL, NBA playoffs. We all love it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
All right. And in football, college, NFL, teams getting geared up, ready for the 2019 season, getting focused on practice.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Hey, look, can't please them all. Sports Drive, 5 to 7, right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth, you think you can solve any problem by turning your computer off and on.
Hey, man, is something wrong with your laptop?
Nah, just need to turn it off and on. It's no problem.
It's smoking.
Yeah, that just means it needs to reboot.
Truth, it's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
And now it's on fire.
Happens all the time. It's all good.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Pros know getting the next job means doing this one right, on time and on budget. Lowe's is here to help by stocking the brands you trust to power through any job, like Hitachi Power Tools, soon to be known as Metabo HPT. Same tools, same warranty, new name. We also stock the quantities of the supplies you use most. Buy in bulk and get additional savings on fence pickets, posts, and concrete every day. For your next job and every job after, do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. See ProDesk for details.
Tell your fan friends that you switched to Pensacola's new ESPN. ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website at ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome into Talk Football with Coach K. I am Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K, having a lot of fun here on this Friday, and thank you so much for tuning in as we are One day into the NFL draft. We've already had round one. That was last night. If you want to be a part of today's show to call in and talk about it, 850-972-1945. Again, 850-972-1945. Coach, you talk about maybe a little bit some controversy to talk about on today's show before we really kind of dive into the picks and talk about, the players and where they're going and how they can affect those teams that they're going to. Coach, a little controversy to address on today's show.
Yeah, I'll just have to admit, couldn't hold back there. There are a couple of things I heard this morning concerning the draft that really on the line. As far as I'm concerned, I think as far as most people would be concerned, one, and I don't mind throwing this out. I mean, the clowns that come on before our show, they're talking about. The draft is nothing but a guess, only guesswork. It's just like throwing a dart at the board. If they only knew, how wrong that is. If they only knew how much money, time, effort, people's lives are involved in evaluating personnel for the NFL draft, there's no way that they could even possibly think of saying that on the air. But they did. That's just totally out of bounds, out of line. It just goes to show you how much they really know about football. I don't think they know Pete Turkey about anything in sports. They know how to with all the silly crap they come up with. But anyway, I'm venting. And the other thing that is really sad is listening to Stephen A. on Get Up, and he's talking about he's making the Giants pick at quarterback a racial thing now because they didn't pick the quarterback from Ohio State. It's sad. It's sad that it has to come to that, but I really hated to hear it. But those are two things that I just can't believe that being said already. Just totally wrong.
All right, Coach, let's go ahead and dive into our picks from last night's first-round draft. Coach, take a look at it to start off with Arizona. They had the number one pick. There was some kind of controversy early as to who they picked. Could it be Nick Bosa? Could it be another defensive player? Then all of a sudden they hired Cliff Kingsbury, and the Kyler Murray train started rolling there with the Cardinals. Last night they made it official, taking Kyler Murray, number one overall. So, Coach, what we talked about happening so many times throughout the offseason leading up to the draft has now happened. Kyler Murray, the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals.
We kind of thought there was so much smoke there that was going to happen. It has, and we'll just have to see how it's going to play out. They're going to be off the book as far as offense is concerned. And we'll see how it works out. The kid's talented. There's no doubt about that. He throws the ball extremely well. He's got great athletic ability. So we'll see how that all comes to an effective NFL offense.
All right, Coach, and you take a look at that, and now you've got to kind of wonder what's going to happen with Josh Rosen. This is kind of a trivial thing, but we did get word a moment ago that Josh Rosen has either unliked or unfollowed all Arizona Cardinals social media pages, so you got to think that is kind of a sign that the era of Josh Rosen may be over with the Cardinals. So, Coach, we've got to now speculate as to what can happen there. Will we see a team trade for him with a second-round pick? Will we see something else? And we talked about it yesterday. The GM, the owner, and everybody involved with this said they're not going to take pennies on the dollar. They want a very good deal. If they're going to get rid of Josh Rosen, they want a very good deal. So, Coach, any chance, is there any outside chance, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, that we still see Josh Rosen play for the Cardinals this year with Kyler Murray as his backup?
No, I don't think so. I really don't, Jordan. I think what's going to happen is they're not going to get what they want in the way of a trade, and they're going to have a fire sale. That looks like what's coming. I'm sure they're hoping today they can maybe pull a second and something out of this draft. I don't think they're going to get a second. I don't think they'll get a second-round pick. Maybe they'll get a third and a fourth, but I don't think they'll get a second. Now, I did hear talking with somebody last evening, kind of interesting that there's some talk out about the young man that they're people don't like him. Players didn't necessarily make friends with the players. Had a little rub maybe with a coach here or there. I think it goes back to college to some extent. So this is what's hounding him right now. I think his personality maybe and his worth, his self-worth, maybe more than some people can take. So it's. I think that's one of the things that's dropping him down. Otherwise, Rosen, somebody would be up taking Rosen. There's no question in my mind about that.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to our second pick, getting back to the first round from last night. The San Francisco 49ers, again, not a surprise here. Nick Bosa, the edge rusher out of Ohio State.
Oh, that had to be, man, that's a great pick, and he's the safest pick in the draft.
All right, Coach, moving to number 3, you've got the New York Jets. They take Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle out of Alabama.
Great pick, next best pick in the draft.
All right, Coach, here's where we get a little funny here because we were promised some interesting moves by the Oakland Raiders, a little surprise, and I think a lot of people, even you and I, sat here and talked about that could mean a trade up, a trade down, something like that. I don't think a lot of people saw Clelin Ferrell, the edge rusher out of Clemson, heading to the Oakland Raiders at number 4.
No, and it's a surprise. It really is a surprise for quite a few people. Had him rated maybe last among the Clemson front, certainly last. But there's some things about him that some intangibles that maybe people should know about. One, he was a team captain. He was a guy that they all looked up to, coaches and players. Was excellent in the locker room. A great teammate, hustled all the time. So he had. There's some intangibles there that they felt, and you have to remember, coaches and scouts get together, and they say this is the type person that we want on our football team, and maybe he doesn't have quite the athletic ability, the X's and O's, athletic ability that some other player has. But the intangibles outweigh the measurables in this case. He's got good measurables, but the intangibles maybe outweigh some other people's measurables. That's where I think happened there.
All right, Coach, moving forward now, we've got pick number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They selected Devin White, the linebacker out of LSU. Not a surprise pick here. I think a lot of people saw Devin White being the guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5.
Oh, I think he's a can't miss. Yeah, I think he's a good pick.
All right, Coach, at number 6, the New York Giants, Daniel Jones at the quarterback position out of Duke. I was surprised by this because I thought that they would take Daniel Jones at 17, go get some defensive help here. But, Coach, they decided to not trade up, but switch the picks around and take Daniel Jones at 6 rather than getting some defensive help. So, Coach, were you surprised that maybe they went ahead and took him this early, knowing that there was a good chance he would still be on the board? Or maybe were you hearing words that maybe that Daniel Jones wouldn't have been on the board if they would have waited until 17?
2 or 3 things you have to think about here. One, this was definitely their guy, and they're being crucified right now for choosing this guy, which is terrible because they're being crucified by people who don't know, quite frankly.
Right.
Do not know. And here's a great case where the intangibles with a quarterback. I've told the story. Many people forget, and I won't get into the long story of it now. But I worked Joe Montana out when he was coming out of Notre Dame. I gave him a can't make it grade in the National Football League. A miss, can't make it. Until I went back and looked at all the tape. I couldn't work him out at Notre Dame, so I had to come back from Los Angeles to South Bend to look at all the tape, the film on him. It was film back then. His intangibles outweighed his measurables, and he failed the eyeball test for anybody. I mean, he just looked terrible. But with the quarterback position in particular, the intangibles outweigh the measurables. You have to have a certain degree of arm strength and so on, but after that, the intangibles really, really make a big difference. This was their guy. And he could have easily heard that maybe the Redskins wanted him, which was a real possibility. So he felt he had to go ahead and take it, and they did. They still came back in, as you know, and they ended up with 3 picks in the first round.
That's right. And, Coach, we'll take a look at the next pick. As a matter of fact, that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, Coach, this is a guy I was surprised was still on the board this late in the first round. I honestly thought he would go top 5, possibly even top 2 or 3 picks. But Coach Josh Allen, the linebacker out of Kentucky, heading to Jacksonville. And this is a great pickup for the Jags. I think a lot of people thought offense, whether it's offensive line or tight end or something along those lines. But, Coach, you look at Josh Allen, that's a great fit there for that Jacksonville Jaguar defense.
Oh, it's a great pick for Jacksonville that he slid there, but it's because of the 2 quarterbacks. Otherwise, look at the other people involved there. And Farrell. Farrell was a little surprised. But he was in the top 5 or 6. There's no doubt about that.
All right, Coach, and we take a look at the Detroit Lions sitting here at number 8. Again, a lot of people maybe thought they might go offensive line, maybe defensive line, but they go tight end with T.J. Hawkinson out of Iowa. Again, Coach, you got to take a look. One of the best players, if not the best players, that was still on the board at that point in time. Detroit just got a really good help at tight end.
I think it was a great pick, an outstanding pick. Hawkinson, his stock was rising all along. I don't think he would have lasted any longer. They're lucky to have him there, really. But he's a good football player and will be, I think, especially for Detroit, is probably what they need offensively.
All right, Coach, moving now to the Bills at number 9. They take Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle out of Houston. Kind of a little bit of a surprise here. I personally thought maybe 11 at Cincinnati might be where Ed Oliver goes, but he is off the board at 9 heading to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, great talent, outstanding physical talent football player. He will be good until such time as he thinks it's necessary to seek his level, which he, I'm sure, thinks is much higher than other people do. He will be an eventual problem you'll have to deal with, but right now he'll be a good football player.
All right, Coach, let's move now to number 10. This was the Denver Broncos pick, but they've actually traded it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers move up to 10 from 20, and they take Devin Bush, the linebacker out of Michigan. Coach, rumor has it this was a guy that they were targeting early on and, had to move up to get him because chances are all the other teams that had needs on the defensive side of the ball before them there with that 20th pick, he might not have been on the board. So the Steelers move up, and they send their 20th first-round pick to the Denver Broncos, as well as a 52nd pick in this year's second round and a third-round pick in 2020. So that's what Broncos are getting for that 10th round pick. And with that 10th round pick, again, the Steelers take Devin Bush out of Michigan.
I don't like the pick. I think he would have maybe been there. They certainly didn't have to give up that much to get him. But anyway, somebody they fell in love with and felt that he fit their scheme totally. So, if you feel that way, you got to go get him. But I don't like the pick.
All right, Coach, I tell you what, we are going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Pick or bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
All right, let's pull up over here and drop a line. Are your feet wet? My feet are wet. Here's the drain plug. You put the plug in the drain, right? It's on the dock.
There's a reason they say curse like a sailor. Many reasons. Progressive's boat insurance has you covered. Quote today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. If you want to be a part of today's show, you can call our studio line 850-972-1945. Again, it's 850-972-1945. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K. And let's just dive right back into where we left off, Coach, because we're taking a look here at the first round of the NFL draft from last night. We left off talking about the Devin Bush trade where the Steelers moved up to take him at 10 with the Denver Broncos. So, Coach, let's move now to Cincinnati at 11. Coach, we took a look here and kind of talked a little bit about Ed Oliver and possibly a couple of other defensive guys being the pick here for the Cincinnati Bengals. But, Coach, they take Jonah Williams, the offensive lineman out of Alabama. Coach, it's a good protection. It's good protection for Andy Dalton or whoever it is they have playing quarterback for him in Cincinnati.
I think it's a good pick. It's not a normal Cincinnati pick. You're right. Oliver would have been a typical Cincinnati pick, but it's a good pick anyway. He's a heck of a player, and will be, whether they move him inside or play him outside, he's going to be good at it.
All right, Coach, and this next team. Honestly, I am not thrilled with anything they did in the first round. I don't understand the picks. You may feel a different way, so I'll leave it up to you, Coach. I was thinking that the Green Bay Packers, they really need some help for Aaron Rodgers. They go defense at 12. Rashawn Gary, the edge rusher out of Michigan. You look at it, Marquise Brown is still on the board. Noah Fant still on the board. Several other receivers still on the board. Could have gotten some quality help for Aaron Rodgers, but they go defense with Rashawn Gary at the edge rushing position for Michigan.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jordan. I thought it was a terrible pick for the Packers. I'm not high on Rashawn Gary anyway. And then to boot, he may have to have shoulder surgery. This is a poor pick, in my opinion. I don't know how in the world you get around this. Yes, they need help for Aaron Rodgers, and they need defensive help also. But if they were going to go with a defensive guy here, I could see it. If it not for this guy, I don't see this one at all. Bad pick.
All right, Coach, moving on now to number 13. You've got the Miami Dolphins. A lot of people were kind of started screaming Dwayne Haskins are still on the board. Drew Lock's still on the board, so maybe Miami might go with a quarterback here. But they don't. They make the smart play, and I think, Coach, the smart play was the best play because they get a heck of a football player in Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle out of Clemson.
I agree with you again. Totally agree. Good, sound, solid draft pick. Going to be there for a long time and going to be a very good football player. I couldn't agree more. I think this is a great pick.
All right, Coach, let's move now to the Falcons at 14. That is where they take Chris Lindstrom, the guard, there on the offensive line from Boston College.
I like it. You know, we talked about Chris Lindstrom. And again, I think last year with what the Colts did with an inside pick, a guard, kind of showed the way for other teams. You can get a player there that can impact a football team, and he will. He's a good, solid football player, sharp, good pick. I really agree. Listen, I thought maybe Atlanta would go defense totally. It looks like they went. Well, it doesn't look like it. They did. They went with their offensive front to show up that offensive front with a guard and a tackle. But this is a great pick here.
All right, Coach, let's move now to 15. We've got the Washington Redskins. Dwayne Haskins still on the board at this point, and the Redskins take him off. They take the quarterback out of Ohio State.
Yeah, good pick. Good pick. He's a big, strong quarterback with a strong arm, and we'll see how that goes there. But I think it's a good pick at this point.
Coach, do you expect him to be the starter this year, game one, or do you look at their quarterback situation? They have Case Keenum. They have Colt McCoy as well. Do you think maybe we see something to where Dwayne Haskins sits, even if it's just for a few games this season, or do you think he's the guy right away for this team?
I think it's going to depend on preseason, but my guess is he would sit and learn for at least 2, 3, maybe 4 games anyway, at worst mid-season. You know, but again, the season will dictate that. If they get off to a rocky start, you know what's going to happen. They're going to throw him in there.
Right.
So anyway, a lot depends on that. But if they're playing pretty well, they're going to keep those older guys in there for the time being anyway.
All right, Coach, moving now to 16, where we have the Carolina Panthers. Coach, they take Brian Burns, the edge rusher, out of Florida State.
I think we called that one, didn't we?
We did.
And it's I think it's a good pick. It's not a great pick, but it's a good pick. It's somebody they need, and if he is what they're projecting he'll be, and what some others have projected, it will be a good pick. I just don't have a great feel for the kid. That's all. Has nothing to do with schooling or anything else. I wish him well. I wish him really well, but I just don't have the best feel for him. But I expect him to be a good football player based on everything I have heard and them taking him there. So let's call it a good pick.
All right, Coach. The Giants with their second pick of the first round there at 17. That is thanks to the trade for Odell Beckham Jr. there with Cleveland. And, Coach, they take Dexter Lawrence, the defensive tackle, out of Clemson with it. So they go Daniel Jones at 6 and Dexter Lawrence at 17. And, Coach, my big thing with the way that the Giants picked in this draft was I would have reversed it if it was me picking the teams or the players for New York, because, Coach, you could have gotten a lot better. I'm not saying anything bad about Dexter Lawrence, but you could have gotten a Josh Allen. You could have gotten a different type of player there at 6 on the defensive side of the ball. You would have had more to choose from, and then taken Daniel Jones at 17. That's just how I would have done it. They did it the reverse way, and they end up with Dexter Lawrence at 17.
Right. Well, you have to say this is a good pick, but I agree with you. I mean, they could have gotten, if they had a better defensive front guy picked, but they needed a big guy up front defensively. So they got that. They ended up getting that. They got a quarterback. You have to say overall right now it's going pretty well for the Giants. But I could agree with you. You know, a switch there could have well happened, and it would have happened. Hindsight's 20/20 now. It would have happened.
Right. All right, Coach, how about at 18, the Minnesota Vikings? I love this pick. Garrett Bradbury, the center out of North Carolina State. Looked at the Vikings. If anybody in the first 32 teams that were picking needed to draft an offensive lineman, it's the Vikings, and they go out and get one of the best in the draft with Garrett Bradbury.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jordan. I really like this young man. I think he could be one of the best offensive linemen, if not the best, in the draft. So that's how strongly I feel about him. I think it's a great pick.
All right, Coach, coming in at number 19, some controversy with him with a particular video that came out, but Jeffrey Simmons, the defensive tackle out of Mississippi State, still going top 20. He's heading to Nashville, where the draft is this year, and he's going to be playing for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I really wish they had not brought all that out I don't know that it was necessary to publicize all that. Go back to, a kid's misdeeds in high school. But they did, and now you still got, with this kid, you still got the possibility that he's not going to play anyway this year with that ACL. So there's no immediate help for the Titans here to help put them over the hump, get them in a little better position to get to the playoffs. None, zero. Now later on, if all this is handled, this business with the video and also with his leg, and he's ready to go, he could be a great football player in the future, and they could be talking about what a great pick this was. But right now, I'm more of a bird in the hand.
All right, Coach, let's move on out to number 20. That's where the Denver Broncos are now after that trade with Pittsburgh. And, Coach, they take Noah Fant, the tight end out of Iowa. So I think, Coach, overall, it's a good pick. It gets Joe Flacco some help there on the offensive side of the football. So, again, number 20, the Denver Broncos select Noah Fant, tight end out of Iowa.
Yeah, we like him, and I think they're going to be able to do something with him. Hopefully, offensively, their offensive staff, they're going to be able to. Here's going to be the key with Noah Fant. You're going to have to be able to play to get the most out of him. You're going to have to be able to scheme offensively to get him into mismatches, which you can do with an inside guy. You remember what the Patriots did with Hernandez? Mm-hmm. So the time they put him in the backfield, lined up as a back, just to get him on a linebacker, and he's going to beat that guy every time. But you're going to have to do things like that. You got to put him in the slot. You got to move him, maybe line him up in the backfield. So do some innovative things with him to get the max out of him. If they do that, I think this is a heck of a pick. Certainly would help Flacco quite a bit if they do that.
All right, Coach, let's move now to pick 21. You've got Darnell Savage, the safety out of Maryland, going to Green Bay. And again, Coach, I question Green Bay's picks in both sides of the first round, whether it's right there at 12 or here at 21. Coach, you're in the first round. You've got plenty of players. Obviously, Noah Fant is off the board here, but you still got receivers. Again, a guy like Marquise Brown, still available on the board. A.J. Brown, still on the board. DK Metcalf, still on the board. Again, they go defense here, and they take Darnell Savage. And, Coach, this is a player that not a lot of people even had in their first round in their mock draft. So I don't necessarily know where Green Bay is going with this, especially with a new offensive-minded coach. But, Coach, I was not a fan of the way Green Bay played the first round of the NFL draft.
Terrible. One word, in my opinion, is terrible. And the other thing is something that is not visible right now, but I can almost assure you that Aaron Rodgers is thinking, how can I get out of Green Bay at some point here? This is ridiculous. I mean, they do nothing. They got 2 number 1 picks, and they do nothing to help a guy who needs some help very badly, and everybody would admit that. So it's a terrible pick.
All right, Coach, moving forward, 22, you've got the Philadelphia Eagles. They take Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle from Washington State. Coach, overall, I think this is a pretty decent pick for them.
I think it's a very good pick. I agree. I think it's a very good pick. They, Peters is getting long in the tooth up front, probably reached the end of his line. Not as quick as he used to be, obviously. And they could use another offensive lineman very badly, and probably going to need to replace him very quickly. So I think it's a good, sound, solid pick for the Eagles,
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have more talk football. We'll be picking it up with the Houston Texans at number 23 on the other side of this break on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Attention yards of America, now you have a holiday too. Toro Days at the Home Depot with the best prices of the season on the latest Toro push mowers, zero-turn mowers, blowers, trimmers, and more. To celebrate, come in now for our lowest prices on any Toro lawnmower or blower. Today is the day for doing, so get outside and enjoy the holiday. Happy Toro Days with the best prices of the season, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offers valid April 18th through May 1st.
At Indeed, we believe a resume is a great way to see an overview of a candidate, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and the resume, like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WICT and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass. Joined alongside me, as always, Coach K. If you want to be a part of today's show, call our studio line, 850-972-1945. Again, it's 850-972-1945. We left off talking about the first round from last night's NFL draft. We took a look at the Andre Dillard pick at the 22 spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming up next, we've got the Houston Texans at 23. And, Coach, this was definitely an interesting pick. And the Houston Texans had need for an offensive lineman. They take an offensive lineman, but it's an offensive lineman I can honestly say, Coach, I have never heard of. Titus Howard, the offensive tackle out of Alabama State.
Well, I can understand how you haven't heard of him, and I don't know a lot about him other than the fact that he is a big, gifted kid. Oddly enough, he went to Alabama State as a quarterback and just outgrew everything. You know, he got to be a very, very big kid, but he's got, along with that, he's got good athletic ability for a big man. And raw is not the word. I mean, raw is he is raw. It's going to take him a year, at least a year, to be able to play effectively on the offensive line in the National Football League. but he could well turn out to be a productive offensive lineman. My gosh, he's got the size, and I think he's probably a good kid. So that would make it a good pick. This is one you won't judge until 2-3 years down the road.
All right, Coach, let's move now to 24. You got Josh Jacobs, the running back out of Alabama, heading to the Oakland Raiders. And, Coach, this is a playmaker for them on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, good pick. I think it's a good pick. They need a back, and he's the type back, I think, that they can use very easily with the type offense that Gruden likes to run. And I think it'll be good for him and good for the team.
All right, Coach, you take a look at the next pick. It's the Baltimore Ravens sitting here. They get a little explosive on this one. They go with Marquise Brown, the receiver out of Oklahoma.
Well, he is a water bug. He's got great feet, tremendously fast, catches the ball well, does all that. It's just whether he can handle the hits, number one, after he catches the football, especially having to catch it inside there. Those safeties can really hurt him. And then number two, at his size, what they can do with him in bump and run coverage, whether he can, if they can get their hands on him, they're going to control him with bump and run press coverage. Now, if they play him off the line of scrimmage, get him off the line of scrimmage, he's got quick enough feet that he can avoid any bump. But there's some things that he's going to have to overcome at that size, and he's not a kid that's going to get any bigger. He's just a small kid, but he's got great athletic ability. Now he can break the big play, so it may turn out well for him. I think I'd have to put a big question mark there.
All right, Coach, let's move on now to our next pick. That is actually going to be the Washington Redskins. They take Montez Sweat, the edge rusher out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, I like the pick. I mean, my gosh, he checks all the boxes, except for the one problem that he may have. But surely they got total clearance from their doctors before they drafted him. But if he has no problem with no heart problem and is not affected by that, which would take him out of football immediately if he does. Yeah. If they don't have a heart problem with him, then I think he's going to be a heck of a fine NFL player. They're going to have to discipline him some. Occasionally, with all that athletic ability he has, he starts going full blast, and he doesn't have a governor on it where he can break down when a player has to break down and make a play. But other than that, you wouldn't want a better guy chasing things down and creating havoc.
All right, Coach, coming up at 27, it's the Raiders' final pick of the first round. And, Coach, they are going to go with Jonathan Abram, the safety out of Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think we both like that pick very much. I know our friend Jim Haslett loves the pick. He's a big fan of Abrams. Now, I think this could be a huge pick for the Raiders here, bigger than people know. Say, oh, it's just another safety. No, he could be the guy that controls their defense totally, certainly in the secondary back there. And he goes back to the Raiders days of safeties that came up with the big hits back there. He's a big hitter. I like him. And the other thing that he does, keep in mind, Jordan, is that he will give them another run stopper when they want to use him, when they want to get him to the line of scrimmage and help with the run. So, good pick. I think it's a real good pick.
All right, Coach, let's move on now. We've got Jerry Tillery, the defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. He's going at 28 to the L.A. Chargers.
Don't know that much about him. I do know that some people liked him. Some people were a little hesitant on him. Based on what I do know about him, he's supposed to be a sure enough player right off the bat. He's very mature and can come in and start for you right away. Well, there's some talk about his longevity. I don't know what that concerns, whether that's an old injury or what's concerned there. But you'd have to say it's a good pick. It's certainly not certainly not a bad pick at this point.
All right, Coach, moving on. Number 29, we've got the Seattle Seahawks, L.J. Collier, the edge rusher out of TCU.
Yeah, he caught a lot of people's eye, and I think has flirted with some of those first-round grades, but didn't quite make the first-round grades. But you got to remember now, Seattle, they do things a little differently than most, and it's somebody they feel is going to be in that Seattle Seahawk mode of playing a wild and adventurous defense. So, we'll have to see how it turns out. I'm not certain. I wouldn't go out on the edge and say he's a good or a bad pick.
All right, Coach, coming up next, we've got the New York Giants working out another deal to where they get the 30th pick, and Coach DeAndre Baker, the cornerback out of Georgia, is heading to be a Giant.
Good pick. And they came back in the first round. They end up with 3 first-round picks. I think they get 3 good first-round picks. They really helped their football team. Now, this kid, by most standards, is a top corner, even rated ahead of Greedy Williams at LSU. Maybe he's not quite as fast as Greedy Williams, but he's certainly a big hitter and an instinctive, intuitive football player.
All right, Coach, coming up next at 31, it's another trade we had, Atlanta trading with the L.A. Rams. And once again, Coach, for the second time in the first round, they go offensive line. Caleb McGarry, the offensive lineman out of Washington.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people that really like this kid. Some not as high as others, which is usually the case. Otherwise, he'd be at the first of the first round. But he's a big tackle who I think is going to be able to play based on what I've seen and looked at him. He's not out of place with any other offensive lineman at the combine when you watch the drills and so on. He can do everything from a foot quickness, eye-hand coordination that anybody else can do. And he's a big kid, and he's played good football. He's played at University of Washington, so he's played quite a bit of good football at a good level. So I think it's a good pick. They certainly have helped their offensive line with him and Lindstrom now, really giving Ryan some hope to be protected very well.
All right, Coach, and rounding out the first round, obviously your Super Bowl champion New England Patriots needing some help from Tom Brady, just like Packers needed help for Aaron Rodgers. But the difference here, Patriots actually get some help for Tom Brady. N'Keal Harry, the receiver out of Arizona State, heading to the Patriots.
Yeah, I love the pick. Now, you got to remember 2 or 3 things that are a little odd here. One is the Patriots usually would opt to trade out of this, trade down, get more picks coming up, especially in a deep draft like this. Number 2, I think only once before have they drafted a receiver with the first pick. The need is obviously there for Belichick to step up and draft a receiver. This is an interesting pick. Now, most of the evaluations that I saw when you had a list of receivers, this kid historically is like 2 or 3 on the receiver list. So they're getting a receiver. The thing I like about him is he's big. He challenges every throw. He goes up and gets the ball at the high point, at his highest point. He's got good hands, big hands, huge hands. Can come down with the football. He's got good receiver skills. Not the fastest guy in the world, but fast enough, if you know what I mean. I mean, there are a lot of receivers in his speed range that have been great receivers. But I think he's like a 4.52, 4.51, 4.52, which is fast enough if you've got body control and can run all the routes the way you need to run them with good body control, great radius to catch the football, good hands, eye-hand coordination, receiver skills, I call them, good hips, good eye-hand coordination, so on. I think he's going to be a good one. I really do, and I liked his approach going to the Patriots. He's probably going to be a good kid.
All right, Coach, looking ahead to the second round that's coming up later on this afternoon. Coach, obviously the Arizona Cardinals will once again get it started off. you got to expect them to start looking at some of their needs here now that they've drafted Kyler Murray with the #1 overall pick. Coach, it's time for the Arizona Cardinals to start addressing and looking for their needs. So, Coach, you take a look at the second round. What are you expecting to see tonight when they get started?
Maybe Arizona will go draft Drew Lock, another quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. There's no telling. I mean, what the heck they may do. I think they're so far behind now with a duplicate draft pick with that #1 draft pick, and not parlaying it into other picks and picking a quarterback. They're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to look at. There are a lot of good receivers on the board. You know, the only receiver they've got really is Ancient right now. At this point, he's going to stay another year, I understand, but Fitzgerald. But he's going to be pressed to stay there that long. I think with all the receivers that are still on the board, you got to think that they would go there. Or maybe they go. Go get a Greedy Williams, you know, who's sitting there. There are a lot of good players that are sitting there right now, ready to be taken #1. Now, if somebody really wants a quarterback and they like Drew Luck, they'll be trading up to get him.
That was my next question, Coach. Is you look at some of these teams inside the top few picks in the second round that gets started here coming up tonight. Coach, you take a look at it. The Colts, they're pretty solid at the quarterback position. Maybe Oakland might be looking, but I'm not too sure about that. The 49ers, they have Garoppolo. The Seahawks have Russell Wilson. The Jags have Nick Foles. The Buccaneers have Jameis Winston. The Bills have Josh Allen, and the Broncos have Joe Flacco. You've got Cincinnati at 42. You've got Miami at 48. Coach, could that be one of the teams we see possibly move up for a chance at Drew Lock?
Yeah, look for Denver and Miami. Those two in particular may want to move up and get Drew Lock.
All right, and Denver again sitting right there at 41. So all right there kind of hovering around that same little area. All could possibly be viable options for Drew Lock. And we'll just see how it plays out, Coach. Round 2, I think round 2 is probably going to be pretty interesting tonight because nobody really knows what to expect. I think the first round you kind of had a good plan of what to expect, but round 2, it's a toss-up. It's anybody's pick.
Yeah, and certainly when you think about A.J. Brown, Debo Sweeney out there, as receivers. And then you got, let's see, I like 2 or 3 of the defensive people that are still on the board. Offensive linemen. There's some excellent offensive linemen still on the board. I mean, there's just an awful lot to pick right now. Irv Smith, the tight end at Alabama. I tell you, whoever gets Irv Smith is going to get. You talk about a matchup nightmare if you know how to use him. Because he's very, very fast. He catches the ball well. Courageous competitor. He's going to make somebody a heck of a football player and a big offensive threat.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, more Talk Football with Coach K. We're going to be wrapping up the show. Coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
Wings are now on Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20 deal. Wings?
Wings. Bigger bang, same buck. Pick a starter plus 2 entrees. Like 10 of Beef's famous wings, still $20. 2 for $20. Worth every penny.
Tower, this is Alpha Squad. Something smells mighty good up here. Who's hungry? Over.
Beef's 2 for $20. Pick a starter and 2 entrees. Like Beef's new chicken tender Parmesan skillet, still just $20.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on your HD radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming on our website, ESPNpensacola.com. Welcome back into Talk Football with Coach K. I'm Jordan Glass, joined alongside me as always, Coach K, and we are taking a look at the NFL draft and things surrounding that as we are through one round, getting ready for round 2 tonight. And Coach, some interesting news coming to us from Ian Rappaport. We're going to go ahead and play the audio of Ian Rappaport from Nashville. So this is Ian Rappaport from Nashville with his comments on Josh Rosen and the Arizona Cardinals. So let's go ahead and play this. Well, we'll try to get this again. We're trying to play this off of Twitter, so we'll see if we can get this going. And if not, let's see. Let me try to refresh the page here and see if that does it for us. We do have audio from Josh Rosen, or from Ian Rappaport on Josh Rosen, and
exactly what they're trying to do now. And, of course, we saw so many teams last night that we thought were going to be in the Josh Rosen market. Redskins for one, the Giants for other. They take quarterbacks, and they are essentially out. So what it basically boils down to, as far as my understanding, is the Miami Dolphins or bust. And, in fact, the Arizona Cardinals and the Dolphins have been in trade talks centered around Josh Rosen since during the draft, since last night, and again this morning. As far as the possible price, probably going to end up being somewhere around a second-round pick. That, from what I understand, is the likely target price for those involved. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins are going to want to give up less. The Arizona Cardinals are going to want to give up more. But we certainly could see a situation tonight where a trade happens on the clock, where really it comes down to the Dolphins being there in the second round and the Cardinals saying, all right, we are either going to do this or we are not. If it doesn't happen tonight, I don't see it happening, from what I understand, for a third-round pick. So it's essentially a second-rounder, or the Cardinals end up keeping Josh Rosen and maybe holding out that someone gets a quarterback injury or something down the line.
All right, Coach, so there you hear it right there, straight from Ian Rappaport in Nashville himself. He says expects this deal that if it doesn't happen tonight, it's either Miami or bust for Arizona. They're about the only team left that could possibly land Josh Rosen, and it's got to happen tonight or it's not going to happen at all.
I would agree with that. I think that's true. Now, they're lucky. If they get a 2, right now, as deep as this board is, as good as this board still is, they're going to be lucky.
No, you are absolutely right on that, Coach. I think as you continue to take a look at this and this continues to unfold, obviously this is something to keep an eye on throughout the day, and this is going to be one of the big storylines, if not the storyline, heading into round 2 tonight. Can the Dolphins get that done? And obviously, if the deal was worked out, we mentioned it a moment ago, the Dolphins have the 48th pick, so they're sitting there at 48 right now. Obviously, that pick would move to Arizona, and Arizona would then pick up their second round pick.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like it would be, even though it could be that a third or a fourth may come into play. We'll just have to see when it happens. They're not going to do it until this draft time. They're going to give every chance for every other team to join in here, and there might be one other team there talking about other than Miami.
Now, Coach, if he does, let's say this deal gets worked out, Arizona accepts the deal with a second-round pick, they send Josh Rosen to Miami, is he a good fit for the Dolphins, or do you think maybe the Dolphins would be better off playing this year, taking somebody in next year's draft?
Well, that's hard to say because we're not sure about the intangibles we're hearing about right now. Now, if he's going to join in and be part of the group, part of the team, then he's a gifted quarterback. As most of the scouts have said, if he were in this year's draft, as opposed to last year, he would be the number one quarterback on the market. So you're getting the number one quarterback out there, basically, for a second-round draft pick, let's say, and that's outstanding. If he does turn out to be everything he can be from a talent standpoint, Jordan, he'll be a godsend for Miami.
Well, absolutely, Coach, and we'll just continue to keep an eye out. And the second round's going to be fun tonight, Coach. And what are the players that you're going to have your eye on? I know you were talking about them a little bit before we went to break. Are there any other players that you're really going to have your eye on to go off the board in the second round?
Yeah, you got Will Greer and quarterbacks Will Greer and Ryan Finley. As I said, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, receivers. I like this David Sills, too. And, my gosh, Paris Campbell is still sitting there. There should be a rush to get to Paris Campbell, I would think. Irv Smith, tight end from Alabama. They're just some outstanding football players that are still on the board. Greg Little, tackle from Ole Miss, still on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see who does position themselves to get a big time pick tonight. And as I said, listen, the next great quarterback or the great quarterback coming out of this draft may not be drafted yet. It may happen tonight or tomorrow.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for on today's show. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the NFL draft unfold over the weekend. We'll be back on Monday at noon, or excuse me, no, we won't be back on Monday. There's a Blue Wahoos game, but we will actually have a special post-draft coverage show Monday morning. It's going to be a Sports Call NFL Draft Edition Monday morning from 10 to 11 right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. So we will have post-draft coverage for you Monday morning starting at 10 a.m. Then the Blue Wahoos will get started at 11 a.m. following right after that. For Coach K, I'm Jordan Glass. Thank you so much for tuning in to Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Don't forget, Sports Drive coming up tonight at 5. Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Tell your fan friends that you've switched to Pensacola's new ESPN, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. It's where you hear Chad Berlante's Sports Drive at 5, Coach K, and Sports Call with Jordan Glass and Davis Allen. Plus all of your ESPN national faves like Gullick and Wingo and Paul Feinbaum. And if you'd like to be an ESPN sponsor or one of our promotional partners, just give us a call at 262-6000. 262-6000.